Hello and welcome to the video lecture on equi-joins, our table SQL. I'm starting Blackboard primarily to out that in the database files is where you're going to the database to use for the rest of this course. So it's different than the database we used in IT 117. It's bigger, it's got more tables, it's more complex, it's much more suitable for what we're doing. So if you go into the MS Access Big PVFC, you'll see the Big PVFC database. When you don't be surprised to see as a parentheses. When I uploaded it for the third time or at a third version. So don't be surprised, you can rename it if you'd like. Also, I have the other files out here. So that if you are interested in learning SQL Server, there are SQL Server files. If you're learning the Oracle, these are the files, and these are the ASCII files for other database management systems that are out there. First of all, if you have a PC, SQL Server is probably the way to go if you want a more advanced environment for doing your SQL. Oracle you can do on a PC or a Mac or any Linux flavor, Unix Linux flavor out there. But Oracle is very, very complex and difficult to install and get used to. SQL Server is much easier to use. At some point I'm hoping to make a video to show you how to do the installations, but at this point, the course has already started. We're not going to get there. So, well, we may get there. We'll see. So, if you've already downloaded the database, I want you to open it up. Inside the database, under Database Tools, you'll see the relationships. And in the relationships, you'll see that they are all organized fairly well, right? So you can see that it really all starts with the salesperson and their territory and where they're doing business in, to the customers, to their orders, and so on through all the relationships. We're going to start off with the customer table and the order table, just the way they do in the textbook. So I just want to kind of follow along what the textbook is doing. So as you can see, the equi-join, if you're looking at page 290 in the text, the equi-join is exactly that. It's where the primary key is set equal to the foreign key in another table. In this case, we have our customer table. We have our customer IDs as the primary key in the customer table. Then we have our order table, and we have a customer ID field that is a foreign key in the order table. So as you can see, the author is drawing these lines to show you that customer ID number 1, Contemporary Casuals, has placed an order 1001 on October 21st, 2010, and they also put in an order 1010 on November 5th, 2010. So what we want to do, and what databases, so in IT 117, what you learn is that when you're designing databases, the entities need to exist in tables. Right? So now we've separated everything, we've normalized everything so that we can store our data and not have update anomalies. But we need to now start combining our entities so that we can see our information. In other words, we want to see that Contemporary Casuals put in an order 1001 on 10/21/2010. We don't want to have to go back and forth. Okay, here's the order. I have to go to customer 1, then I have to open up the customer table, look for customer ID 1, and then find their name and all the rest of their information. So that's the other reason that this is called a key, because this key, customer ID, unlocks all of the customer information, the same way that the foreign key, the order table, unlocks all the order information associated with that customer. So let's take a look at the SQL to put these two tables together. The first way we're going to do an equi-join is called the cross product. And the cross product, right, we close our select table window and we go into SQL view. So we're going to start off spelling select wrong. So we're going to select the customer name and the customer address along with the order date. And we are going to select them from, and this again is going to look a little unusual because up until this point you're used to only using one table, but in this case we're going to select from the customer T table and the order T table. When you do the cross product notation way of doing joining, and again this is the only time we're going to do this, you simply have a comma delimited list of the tables. The reason this is called the cross product is because at this point, since your from clause is telling the database management system to bring these two tables into memory. At this point, it doesn't know how to match the two tables together. That's the problem, and that's why this is called the cross product, because it actually creates the product, a result set that is the product of the two tables. So let me explain that. If you look at the customer table has 14 records in it. If you look at the order table has 58 records in it. What's going to happen without any kind of criteria for how to join these two tables together, the database management system is going to have no other choice than to match every record from one table with every record from the other table. So if you have a calculator handy, you will soon see that 14 times 58 is 812. So as you can see that now there are 812 records in our result set. Obviously that's not what we want. So in order to limit this, because really we only want to see, and again this is why it's known as an equi-join, we want to see the customers with their orders. And the way we do that is with our where clause. In this case, I'm going to write this so that there's an error first. So I'm going to match customer ID, make it equal to customer ID. Now here the problem is that the customer ID field exists in both of these tables. So when I try to execute this, I get an error that the specified field, customer ID, could refer to more than one table listed in the from clause. So what I have to do is what's known as fully qualifying these fields. So I have to say customer T dot customer ID equals the order T dot customer ID. So just as we were doing here in this figure, we're matching up the customer ID in the customer T table with the customer ID in the order T table. We do that in our where clause. And then when we run this, we get our 58 records showing our customer information with the order date. Okay? So that is the end of our video lecture on the cross product style of the equi-join.